Hello and good morning. Hopefully you survived week one without too many bumps and bruises. Please keep in mind that if something didn't go right, in other words, if you realize after the fact that you didn't post an assignment like you meant to, or if you were running late and the deadline caught you off guard, I'm pretty forgiving for the first week. Now we're in a groove and hopefully you've got those little wrinkles ironed out and we can go full throttle ahead. I'm not as forgiving as the weeks go on, but I am patient and I show grace, so don't be intimidated by that either. Okay, so last week, just to recap, we did a reflection activity and I posted it to the discussion board. Some of you asked, should we have responded to anybody? You know, I don't think I clarified that at all. Don't worry about responding as much as getting that posted for last week's assignment. You also did an MLA exercise to kind of acclimate to how we're going to cite sources. Okay, this week is going to be a little bit more foundational work rather than working towards a paper. So you can kind of take a deep breath. You're not building onto a composition quite yet, but we are learning some of the structures of the course. We're starting a summary response unit, which simply means that we're going to learn how to respond to a writer's argument with an original argument of our own after recapping that argument. In other words, we're going to take what they say and say, here's what they said, and then respond with, here's what I say about that, okay? And those responses can look three different ways. One, you might say, I agree. One, I disagree. And another, I agree to a degree, or I disagree to a degree, okay? So it's kind of the yes, no, and somewhere in between. Think about that even as you read this week's articles and respond to them on the discussion board. The articles for this week are posted in the classroom. They are in the course content and they are links to the internet. That's always a little dangerous as an instructor because I know that links change and they can become convoluted. What could have been really clear when I set the course up may get restructured by that web editor. So if for some reason it's not looking like you thought it would look, let me know. The first two articles, if I'm let me get to the right place here in my little book that I printed out everything. The first two articles are going to be about the online learner, and then link 3 is a New York Times section from an author named Gerald Graff, who kind of came up with a whole textbook around this idea of they say, I say, which is just a template or structure for writing. And in this article, he's really addressing college students who are trying to write to please instructors of various opinions. So anyway, I just thought it was sort of interesting. You'll notice that some of these articles refer to you as if you are a first-year student, 18 years old, starting college. And very honestly, most of you aren't. Some of you are seniors in high school doing your post-secondary option to get college comp out of the way. Some of you are returning to the classroom after years away, and some of you, are somewhere in between. So I understand that. So if it's worded as if you're like truly the traditional freshman and that bothers you, try to overlook that and see if there's anything of value for you in your phase of life, okay? The other thing that we're going to be doing besides responding to those 3 articles is a thesis worksheet. And I'd like you to base the content of this worksheet on the articles if you can, just for a place to start, not necessarily because the articles are, all that to write about. This is never going to develop into a paper. It is an exercise to show you how I'm expecting your thesis statements or your controlling thoughts of your paper to be set up in future papers. So again, this is groundwork, foundational stuff, okay? Now, some of you might be more like global thinkers, like you like to get the big picture. Let me help you get a big picture view of what we're doing. We're starting our first writing unit this week, and you'll notice in your syllabus that Unit 2 lasts for 3 weeks. What's going to happen is that this week we're going to do like a writing skill type thing, which is the thesis worksheet. Next week we're going to get into the actual readings for the paper. Feel free to read ahead, and you'll notice that the discussion board threads are already started to respond to these readings. If you want to start discussing ahead, there's not a problem with that. Keep in mind that discussing is a conversation, so once you post your thoughts on that, would you also try to post to somebody else and give them some thoughtful feedback on what they've shared about what they've read. Then you'll notice in the third week of the unit, we are doing that we're actually writing the paper, we're editing the paper, and we're turning the final paper in. So basically we have a skills week, a reading week, and a paper week. And you'll notice that that also is kind of how the whole course follows for about 3 weeks for each of the smaller papers that build up over that 3-week period. If you find that it's disproportionate for you, in other words, if you think this foundational week is too light and you need to take some off of next week, that's why it's all there in front of you. It's all set up, ready to go. Work ahead as far as you need to adjust to your schedule, but just keep in mind that not everybody is going to keep at your pace, obviously, right? And the only requirement from me is that you keep at the pace in the syllabus. So I just wanted to share that with you. If you really love to look ahead, you'll notice that the last paper of the whole course is a research paper, and that one will take more than 3 weeks. So if you're like, wait a minute, she said everything's 3 weeks. No, not the research paper. I thought we needed more time than that, okay? All right, well, hey, that is pretty much a recap of what's going on this week. If you have questions, concerns, keep using that discussion board. Keep emailing me. Some of you are apologizing when you email. Please don't. This is what it's about. You don't have a chance to ask me clarifying questions face to face, and sometimes things just don't click because I've not written them clearly, or maybe because you missed something in your reading, and that's understandable. Do not use this video as a substitute for reading all the course content materials, but I'm so happy that you participated in our little video conference this morning, and I hope you have a great week. Bye-bye.